Welcome back to World War News, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day. Be sure to hit the subscribe button because we're going to be talking about all the Rank 7 jets that are being added in patch 2.7 Red Skies. I'm going to do this the same way my stream goes without the random dying. We're going to start off with the United States and then we're going to go on, and there should be timestamps in the pinned comment below so you can jump to whatever nation you want, but we're going to start out with United States. The new jets that they got were, of course, the F5E in the main tech tree right after the 104C. At 10.7, it is essentially a better version of the F5A in a multitude of ways. Mainly its armament. It doesn't have any better missiles than the AIM-9Js. Well, the Chinese one has AIM-9Ps, but they perform just as well as AIM-9Js. However, the E does have countermeasures. It also can carry AGM-65Bs and a GAU-13A gun pod. But along with the gun pod, it has plenty of rockets and bombs. Performance-wise, it is quite nimble. I think it flies the same as the F5A. The only real difference would be the ordnance. I don't know how much it costs to research. However, I don't feel it's going to be any higher than the other 10.7 jets at top tier. One major disappointment that I kind of knew was going to happen is the gun doors don't open. What the gun doors are, there's these little squares that pop up, kind of like pop-up headlights on a car, but not really, and essentially just block gases and whatnot that come from the guns that go into the engines, so it doesn't stall mid-flight. It doesn't happen in War Thunder. It does happen in DCS. Generally, this will be an all-around really good aircraft, whether you take it into air RB or ground RB. It has plenty of ordnance to bomb enemy targets, of course also AIM-9 AGM-65s, and when going up against other planes, it'll have great flight performance like the A in the Chinese tree, but it'll have those countermeasures. It won't have the same top speeds as Phantoms, but you'll definitely be able to outturn a lot more things. The other rank 7 jets they're getting is, well, it's nothing new, but it's the F4E, has been moved to rank 7. It also got a gift for AGM-65Bs. Kind of a nice addition. It did use them, so why not give it to them? A downside, though, is that it cannot carry air-to-air missiles as well as the AGMs. It can either carry only these or its other loadouts. And their final rank 7 jet was the A7D. Did not increase battle rating or anything like that. Same thing, just decided to call it rank 7. It also did not receive AGM-65Bs. It's stuck with the A's. Not really sure why they didn't allow you to research another module and upgrade them, but I guess the upgrade wouldn't be that much anyways. And finally, not a rank 7 jet, but a new jet added, was the F5C, which, well, is an F5. It is 10.7, unlike I was assuming 9.7. Makes more sense for it to be 10.7 because it's a top tier jet. The flight performance is just like the other ones. They don't have much difference between the two. The only difference here is that the best missiles it can carry is AIM-9Es. It does indeed actually have a lot of possible ordnance. No AGM-65, but you do get AGM-12s. I believe Gaijin's reasoning for it not getting better missiles is because they had quite a short service life with the United States, and it was out of service before AIM-9Js or whatever came into service, while the Chinese F5As got their missiles because the Chinese, or the Taiwanese, used them up till, I think it was the 90s or something. So they definitely had those more advanced missiles in their stock. Besides that, other interesting things you might want to know about the US tree: the Premium Harrier, the A4E Early, the F11 F1, and the FJ4B VFM 232 were all moved to rank 6. Actually, I think some of those were already in rank 6, but don't worry about it. Next on our list is Germany. Germany only has 2 rank 7 jets. That is the MiG-21 FM. Nothing changed about it. It is as it is, just a higher battle rating. And the F4F, which is, well, a German F4F. The way it differs from the one that we already have in game, the early, is probably has different flight performance and things like that, but it can also carry 2 AGM-65Bs. Flight performance is kind of hard to tell just from playing around with it for a few hours on the dev server, but generally they kind of are the same thing. Both same battle rating, just this one has some better ordnance options. I guess I can't really check because my F4F early isn't actually mine because I don't own it yet. Maybe an email could fix that for me. Besides that, just like the early version, it does not have AIM-7s, only AIM-9Js for its best air-to-air missile. Still, it is a nice jet and should serve German players well. Also, the F4F early was also brought up to rank 7 for obvious reasons. Russia got quite a few rank 7 jets. Of the ones that already were in game is the MiG-21 SMT, the MiG-21 BIS, and the Su-17 M2. Their last rank 7 jet is, of course, the new one that everyone's talking about, the MiG-23M, which is a very nice looking jet. The skin I'm not exactly the biggest fan of. I like their camouflage skins more than this blank one, but the blank one does look very nice. While what's definitely more impressive about the MiG-23 is its flight performance and missiles, because it does have some pretty impressive missiles, including things like R-23Ts, which are all aspect missiles, though just because they're all aspect doesn't mean that you're you're guaranteed a hit. And of course can carry with those 4 R60s, having a total of 6 missiles. The R-23Rs are radar guided, and I believe this thing is supposed to have a pulse Doppler radar, being much more effective than your regular radar guided missiles. Though I was having trouble getting that thing working. When this thing does come to live server, perhaps you can do that a bit better than I can. But anti-air ordnance isn't the only thing this thing carries. It can also carry a good number of bombs, as well as some of Russia's laser-guided air-to-ground missiles, KH-32Ms to be exact. Flight performance-wise, I'm not an expert in top-tier jets, but I think this thing flies pretty well. It has good top speeds, and turning isn't too hard. It's definitely not a brick. Will it outperform the Phantoms? Time will tell, but I definitely think it will give them a run for their money at the least. Having 4 R60s will definitely be very useful, even if you can't get the radar missiles to work or the all-aspect things aren't doing the magic they're supposed to. A very cool-looking jet. This is definitely one that I'm looking forward to quite a lot. Last few aspects about this is, yes, it does have countermeasures, which is nice. The Russian jets sometimes seem to be lacking countermeasures, but also it is the first 11.0 jet in-game, or I guess 11.0 anything in-game. Many are saying that this isn't enough, and they're probably right. However, I think that it's a step in the right direction at the least. Another thing to take into consideration, if there's an 11.0 battle rating, perhaps everyone who plays the MiG-23 is going to suck up all those Phantoms into the 11.0 battle rating bracket, leaving 9.7 nice and fresh, but time will tell. Among other jets that they got is the Yak-28B. Right after the Tu-14 is a jet bomber that can carry quite a lot of ordnance, including a 3,000-pound fab. However, besides that, it's a little weird. In a straight line, it can rip its wings, so be careful doing that. In fact, even climbing, it can start getting red. And if you get there, you have no air brake for some reason. It does have one 23mm cannon with 50 rounds, so if you do need to engage enemy aircraft, you can. Really, the only appeal is that this thing has a massive 3,000 kilogram bomb, which I think other planes already have anyways. It has chaps and flares too, so that's nice. The final new Russian jet is the, of course, Su-7BKM, which, as we already all know, is the Su-7BKL, but a premium, and for some reason has a lower battle rating than the tech tree version. I find this actually hilarious because there was somebody in my comments when I was making a video about this thing's dev blog saying that this was the good version of a premium because it was just a copy of a tech tree vehicle, so it would just be a non-pay to win separate option for somebody who hasn't ground up the rest of the tree to purchase a premium of that plane. Well, now you can have the same plane at a lower battle rating at the low cost of $60. Anyways, other vehicles that got moved up to rank 6 would be the premium Yak-38, and that's about it for Russia. Britain's rank 7 jets are now the Phantom FGR2 and Phantom FG1. Nothing has changed about them, though I did read somewhere that they were planned to get AIM-9Gs. However, currently on the dev server, they do not have them. As for premiums, they got one new one, the Sea Vixen, which personally I think is a hilarious jet. It has a nice blue camo, and it comes with a purchasable option for a Gargua skin. Modification-wise, Gaijin is not going to hand out free missiles. They cost Silver Lions to equip, which gives you the option to go into battle with no weapons at all. I guess that's the pacifist run of War Thunder. Perhaps it's not a jet fighter, but a jet lover. However, generally, the missiles it can carry, red tops, I'm not sure why you'd carry the worst ones when it's a premium, are pretty good. You get 4 of them, and they are quite effective. It has a nice cockpit too. Makes me feel like I should take it in the sim. The best part about the plane is that Jeeves, your butler, has a little co-pilot seat, so he can boil you tea while you shoot down the Reds. And final note about British aircraft is that the premium Harrier that they have was moved as well to rank 6. For Japan, they didn't get any new jets. The F4EJ is now their only single rank 7. They did, however, receive a new premium P-51C. It has no ordnance, as it was a captured plane. I don't know how much it will cost because Gaijin kind of just gave it to me. Pretty sure it's going to go for Golden Eagles though, and its battle rating is only 4.0, which they don't have any other 4.0 premiums, so I guess it can fill a gap there. Generally, it's not the most interesting, but it's also not the least interesting. I kind of like it. It does have a historical aspect of Japan, not use it in combat of course, but making use of it to inform their pilots about the enemy aircraft. And while we're talking about a plane armed with 50 cals, it's good to note that Browning M2 50 cals now all should have a 750 round per minute fire rate. Apparently, as it is currently on the live server, they vary from plane to plane at times. So perhaps in some senses it might actually be a nerf. I don't know every 50 cals fire rate, but there's a possibility in some senses that this is a buff. Anyways, moving on to China. 2 of their planes were moved up to rank 7. The F-104G and the F-5A are now rank 7 jets. However, they got another jet added to them that is also rank 7, the J7E, which is an improvement to the J7. I'm not sure how far down the line it worked, but it is armed with 4 PL-5B air-to-air missiles, which currently are using the model of a Sidewinder in-game. I believe in real life they should not be that model, but I am unsure. The missiles themselves are not too bad. They have a maximum over-G of 16 Gs and a rear aspect lock range of 5.5 kilometers, which is a lot better than the PL2s, but not as good as the AIM-9Ps that have a maximum over-G of 20 Gs. Performance-wise, it's said to be a lot like the MiG-21 FM, which is disappointing that they don't have something on par with the BIS. However, I guess we're working up to that. Mainland China has been lagging behind in jets for a while there. They've only had the J7 too. For Italy, they are once again being left behind and are getting no rank 7 jets. However, they're not left out of the fun entirely. They are getting one new jet, the Spaghettio 2, which is like a fat mystery. You know, the French jet, like that, but just like kind of chunky in the center. It has this weird downward facing engine and these bizarre, super long 30mm Hispanos. Performance-wise, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It has no forms of ordnance, so it's purely for fighting and any jets. Like, I guess you could try to shoot things. You do have 47mm of penetration with the guns, but you only got 240 rounds. Performance-wise, I'd say it's all right. What I've noticed is that it's a bit slow to get going, but it's definitely pretty fast. When trying to shoot down the AI planes in the test flight, the MiG-15 was able to get away from me. However, eventually I started catching up to it, and then it made a turn and I shot him some more. Despite all of its strangeness, it being an Italian jet made by Italian hands, it's kind of disappointing that we haven't seen it sooner, actually. France's rank 7 jets are of course the Mirages, the 3C, and the 3E. Nothing else about them had changed. They're just now rank 7. Though they also did receive a new jet. And this one I've been seeing a lot of people kind of blow off. It is the MD454 Mystery 4A. It is 8.7, and to a lot of people it's just another mystery. But me, no, I like this thing because it's a little strange, a bit different. From the outside, it is exactly what it looks like, a mystery. However, if you look at the ordnance, you'll notice, first off, it has only anti-air Nords, which can be pretty useful, but also has a number of rockets they could carry. Either those French T-10-151 rockets, which are pretty good for anti-tank capabilities. Of course, a bunch of SNEBs or some bombs. However, if you select one of these stacks of rockets, you'll notice that there's only 2 hardpoints on the wings. Where are the rest of the rockets? Well, there's a rocket bomb bay, I guess you could call it, that can carry up to 55 SNEBs. And these rockets, when they come out, I'm not sure if this is a dev server bug or what, but they shoot all at once. So it's like a rocket shotgun. I find it hilarious. Practicality wise, I guess it's not the most practical. You can shoot down enemy jets if you shoot a shotgun of rockets at them, but the rockets typically stick together. However, there is another possible use for them as flares. You see, when an air-to-air missile, an IR-seeking air-to-air missile comes at you, if you fire some rockets off, the engine of the rocket can throw off the air-to-air missile. So you could technically just use these as flares and fire off a bunch when you think an AA is coming at you. Besides that one interesting fact, in fact, I think the other mysteries also have those internal rocket pods. It's kind of just another mystery, but 87, Scat 2, DIFAs. And for the final nation, we have Sweden, with the J35B being their only rank 7 jet. Though not their only new aircraft, they also received a new prop. Though it is also copy-paste, it is a B105G6. And like the German B105G6, it's the same. It's got the ordnance, the loadout options, gun pods, and all that. G6s aren't that bad. Personally, I like the G2 better because it has a nice low battle rate while still having a lot of power to it. Also, German 30mm cannons are terrible. With the number of finished vehicles coming into the Swedish trade, why don't you just make a Finnish tree? Maybe though, they're just using these vehicles to finish off the Swedish tree. Sorry about that. Well, anyways, that is all the jets that are being added in this patch. There's possibilities of more being added, I guess. They have added new vehicles in a second dev server. However, I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like this is just about everything we're going to get in this patch, but you never know. So if that is the case and there's new jets, I guess I'll have to make new videos covering those ones. If there is a second dev server and some of these have significant changes, I'll cover them, but it's not likely that they do. Like, I don't think a full video is worth the British Phantoms getting AIM-9Gs. So until then, I hope you very much enjoyed this video. Big shout out to my patrons, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Do as you do. I do have a tank video coming out planned very soon, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when that goes live. Otherwise, streams on Saturdays and random views throughout the week. So thank you very much for watching. In the terms of bonus news, the F-14 was added, technically.